Hola, boa tarde. Boa noite for me. Boa tarde, probably for you. Hope you're doing well. Happy Thursday. Feliz Quinta-feira. I'm Krishan Wright. I'm the founder of Black Sick Global, the host of the Black Sick Global podcast, joining you live from my home in Lisbon, Portugal, where it was HOT today. Muito calor. Ooh, ciao. Past 2 days, Bailey and I have been in this house because it is hot. Thankfully, tomorrow starts a little bit of a cool down. Fingers crossed. By midweek next week, we'll be in the 70s, high 70s, which is just going to be comfortable. So good for long walks, bike rides, and stuff. But baby, once it gets into them low high numbers, no, I do not like that. It is too hot, too humid, too much. Hope you are doing well and staying safe out there, both in these international streets and domestic streets, in the United States. Woo child. National Guard. Anyway, I digress. So let's talk about some things that are going on, some events. Black Sick Global has quite a bit of a little media thing going this back half of the year, back quarter of the year. So you'll be seeing a lot. I can't reveal everything just yet, but nevertheless, this is our 5-year anniversary. 5 years of Black Sick Global. So we are celebrating in style because Mama loves some boats. I love some yachts, to be specific. And so we are throwing a yacht party, okay? Same yacht I had for my birthday. So if you're wondering what it looks like, go on the channel, not right now, and look for my birthday video and for my 50th last year, and you will see how we will be partying in style. The theme is Black joy, right? So it's going to be an expression of joy, full, vibrant colors. We're going to do some wine tasting. We're going to have a sunset 3-hour cruise, some light bites. And then the next day, 2 separate events, we have Stephanie Perry and Rashida Dow, the co-creators, co-founders extraordinaire of Exodus Summit, will be in town. And so it will be a joy to host a meetup for them October 24th. So if you want to come hang out with us and some of your other podcast faves, there's going to be a lot of guests, previous guests, some new for season. Where are we going into? Season 8? Season 8. Oh my gosh. I looked the other day. I was like, wow, it's 80 episodes. Ooh, child, I've been talking. Come hang out with us. It's going to be a blast. I'm already starting to plan 2026 because in about 2 months, a little less than 2 months, we have our Nomad Noir cohort, our second one for the year, our scouting program. So we have these wonderful ladies coming to scout Portugal with me. I will be their fairy scout mother for 10 days, taking them around Portugal, all the information that they need to make an informed decision whether or not they want to move here. I am just about to finalize the date for Nomad Noir 2026. But what I have decided is there's only going to be 1 cohort next year, not 2, because I got some big travel plans next year. So as of right now, there's going to be 1 Nomad Noir scouting cohort for 2026. But we are also going to have a special, at least I could probably say this now, retreat. So more to come on that, but there will be 2 big events. But for scouting, there's going to be 1. So if you're interested, when I finalize the date and I release it, first come, first serve. That's it. It's going to be 1 and done. And then, like I said, fleshing out the retreat for those of you who are interested in that. What else do I need to tell you? I think those are all the big things today. Let's see who's in the chat. Hey. First in the chat. Travel is my passion. Hey, Deborah. Thank you for listening to the podcast. I am excited. I'm already concepting. I was telling Tori before we went live and I'm concepting season 8 in my head. So it starts in my head, and then I put it down on paper, and then eventually it gets in your ears. So I'm in the beginning stage, but either way, I'm so glad you're listening from the beginning. Hopefully, you're getting all the gems and nuggets. It's 80 episodes, so you've got quite a catalog to go through. Hey, Harlem Minded. Oh, yes. And also, Deborah, if you would be so kind, leave us a 5-star review, rating and review. It helps the podcast get found. Hey, Harlem Minded. Buenas tardes. Oh, we got a channel member. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, Maureen. How you doing? How you doing? Another channel member. Hey, Greta. Hey, Fleur de Lis. How are you? How are you? Oh, Susan in Seattle. Yeah, it's sunny. Wow. Okay. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Action VJ got his ticket. Yes. Hey, Jackie. How you guys doing? Are you guys getting used to like this new time slot? I know probably I would have like more people watching if it was my old time slot, but Mama's prioritizing rest. Hey, Bridget, how are you? Geraldine, hey, hey, hey. Hey, Winnie. Winnie B in the place to be. Yes. Listen to Winnie. Hit the thumbs up. Yes. Yes. Hey, Chalice, how are you? How are you? So we're good. All right. So one of the things that I have been focused on in my move, which next month makes 2 years that I've been living in Portugal. 2 years since I left America, which is wild, right? It feels like I've been on a 2-year vacation, to be honest. But yeah, time flies when you're having fun. But part of the journey of moving abroad, at least in my opinion, has not just been the physical move, right? Which is decide where you're gonna get, where you're gonna go, buy a plane ticket, make sure you got a visa. It's something that allows you to legally be a place and then go, right? But wherever you go, there you are. And so, what are the things that we need to shed from our old life, unpack, process that allows us to blossom and unfold into the lives that we have a choice in creating for ourselves, right? It's not inherited, it's not accumulated, based on, or acquired, probably is a better word, based on different life experiences. You get to choose, you get to co create the existence that you want in the next phase of your life. And so, Tori Prophet, who is our guest for tonight, reached out, and it was such perfect timing because I'm actively working on some things on my own. And we thought it would be nice to talk about, not just living a soft life, but some of these hard edges that we bring along for the ride. And so how do we start to work away, work with that, right? And create the lives that we want. So without further ado, I want to introduce Tori and welcome her to the channel and allow her to introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me on here, Krishan. It's a high honor to get to be here with you and your audience today. Hi, everybody in the chat. I am Tori Prophet. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I have a private practice where I specialize in pregnant and postpartum women and helping them through anxiety and birth trauma. And I also lead a women's community where I help ambitious, creative women kind of unsubscribe from hustle culture. And I'm a big fan of journaling and reflection. And I'm really excited to get to share some of this with you guys today.
Oh, I love it. It's interesting. Journaling is so transformative in a lot of ways. And so and when I was a kid, I journaled a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I had my journals, and even as a young adult, up until I got married, I was still journaling quite a bit. But for me, in those years since, so we're talking about a good long time, I have not been as diligent. And, for me, I'll be fully transparent. There were times in my earlier life and in part of my adult life where my journals were breached and so
Mhm.
it made it not feel as safe and as sacred as I
Mhm.
would have liked. But now in this chapter of life, like, I am in my own place, in my own space, and one of the things that I'm actively working towards is, you know, moving past that, right?
Mhm.
Reclaiming the sacred space. And so I say that, one, just to be fully transparent, that everybody has some level of resistance in their life that may impede their ability to move to the next level. They may have a desire to do it, but there's still some shadow work. And so, whether it be shadow work or the hard edges that we're talking about, this is a safe space to unpack that. So, I wanted to offer that as like a little bit of a container, pre-container. So, Tori, with all of the work that you have done and are doing in this space, like, what are some of the things that you see as you talked about, like high functioning,
Mhm.
women walking away? As Black women, we know we are the highest educated demographic in the United States. We're starting businesses at a faster rate than any other ethnicity.
Yeah.
And with that, we don't always get the accolades, but so many of us have been wired in so many ways to chase achievement as a form of validation. And so for you, like, what are some of the biggest impediments with some of the clients that you see working in this space?
Mm. Well, a lot of it is this. There is a lot that can be attributed to the thoughts that we tell ourselves, right? And
Mm,
the negative inner critic. But that's not the only place where it exists. I see in a lot of these women, well, they will tell you what their inner critic says, and they can tell you, well, I know that's not right, or I shouldn't think that. But yet, and still, they're still performing that script,
mhm,
right? And so I think the biggest impediment, and they don't really realize this, but the biggest impediment is the the wiring, the nervous system calibration that has gone on our entire lives, right? The conditioning that we've been under our entire lives. We can get to a point to where we know this isn't working for us, or we know humans aren't machines. Like, we know that, right?
mhm,
Our logical brain understands that. But yet we're still acting like it.
mhm,
Well, the difference between those two things is not trying harder to rest or learning more rest practices, or any of that. It is really nervous system realignment.
mm,
And then that's where I come in, where I work with people one on one or in groups to really help them recalibrate their nervous system. Like, I
mhm.
can tell them all the things. They are, look, Black women, we already know. We already know, right? Bell Hooks already told us. Audre
Mhm,
Lorde already told us. Trisha Hersey already told us. We already know. Why aren't we doing it? Well,
mhm.
it comes down to our nervous system.
Yeah.
And that's not anyone's fault.
Mhm,
It's just now that that piece is getting, I think people are talking about it a lot more. And now that that's coming out, I think we're finally starting to be able to integrate the mind and body better in a way that I think could be more supportive for women.
yeah, it's interesting. Is one of the things that I've kind of been nerding out as I've been working through some things on my own is the science of it. To your point, like, you can know, you have a knowing, whether
Hmm.
in your logical brain, and even a knowing in terms of your intuition, where, like, there's a voice inside of you that might say that this job, this relationship, this country, this
Hmm.
whatever, insert, is not meeting my needs, or something feels like it's off, or there's
Right.
got to be more than this. But then there's another brain or another part of your brain that might be rooted in, fear-based
Mm-hmm.
anxiety or avoidance that prevents you from, going there to the next level. And it was interesting. We had this conversation the other day where I was like, starting to unpack some earlier decisions, and had to really take a step back. And it's like, oh, this was fear. Because
Mm-hmm.
when I'm looking at this now with some time, away, it's like, oh, my rational brain was like, ooh,
Mm-hmm.
this don't make no sense. But in the moment, it was your fight or flight
Mm-hmm.
instinct kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fascinating
Yeah.
because when, back in olden times when there were like dinosaurs and other animals that roam the earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you would sense danger, you need to run. You don't have time to fully process it.
Right.
But one of the things that I want people to realize that even though we're not living in those times today, we still have that hardwiring as human beings, first and foremost. And that might show up like, where me, I was having panic attacks at work when I was still working, or agita if a police car pulled up, or, so where you'll have this like flooding, emotional flooding of hormones, and then you're just, fearful.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just part of, a couple of examples just to kind of kick things off. But it's a challenging thing for us to really work through, and then the fear of leaving what's comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find like that has been with your work, and you were talking about the somatic in the brain, is that another part of our hardwiring, that we're hardwired for comfort?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're hardwired for to seek safety, right? To seek safety and flee from danger or neutralize a threat, right?
Mm,
And so, it comes down to what you perceive as a threat, right?
mhm.
Our bodies, our brains are so efficient. Look, if it looks like it's a roach or a spider over there, I'm gone. I don't have time to look for it,
Yep.
right? No, we'll find out what it is after I know I'm safe.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that's just a little bitty example, but think about being in a relationship, a
Mm,
workplace, a country where
mhm,
you can perceive threats, and there are like threats that are, it's not just your perception, right? It's real.
mm, mhm.
Are these people out to get me? Am I really safe here?
Yeah.
Then of course, living in in a state of kind of hypervigilance, right?
Mm,
We live in this state of hypervigilance because we're scanning for threats
mhm,
so that we can either neutralize them or escape from them. And when your body is constantly scanning for threats, that wreaks havoc. Your hormones go out of whack. Your cortisol is flooding your body.
mhm,
And so then if when you go home and you don't really rest, you don't ever get deep rest from that, then your body doesn't have a chance to reset from that either.
mhm.
So then you're kind of like taking on this stress load every day, like a residue, right? It
Yeah.
never gets washed clean. It's like a
Mhm,
residue. And eventually it can lead to a burnout, a breakdown.
mhm. Yeah, and it's as you were talking, it made me think about some of the things, and I'm curious your thoughts. In the US, for example, there's high rates of gun violence. There's, what's going on in DC, militarism. There's, all the things that are happening on the political landscape. And then, their media is training us like Pavlov's dog with breaking news alerts. And we have things on our phones and texts and, inundated with stimuli all
Mhm.
day. And so, do you find that with the modern world in which we live in, but then our bodies are an old technology, if you will,
Yeah.
that there's a huge conflict in which we kind of normalize things that are abnormal.
Yeah.
And so, to your point, we never get to that period of rest and recovery, because on a conscious level, your
Mm-hmm.
brain is like, nah, girl, they could do a mass shooting, outside,
Mm-hmm.
or, all of these other threats
Yeah.
that you're kind of talking yourself down, like, oh, you know what? The National Guard in DC, that is some shit, right? Like your president doing the things that did, like, that is some shit. So that your threshold, your tolerance
Mm-hmm.
on some level is getting so high of just tolerance of bullshit that
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to regulating, you
Mm-hmm.
stay almost in this normalcy pattern of dysregulation. Or is
Yeah.
that an overreach or overstatement?
I mean, no, you're exactly on point with that. Like I was talking about with the hypervigilance,
Mhm.
and even you're bringing in like the media and just how connected we can be to all the stuff that's going on. And while it may be important for someone to be aware,
Mm.
we need better boundaries
Ah.
around ourselves and between ourselves and that stimuli, right?
Mhm.
Which is why rest becomes important, stillness,
Mhm.
quiet.
Mhm.
And then also even asking yourself, do I really need to know all the breaking news as it breaks?
Mm.
Do
Yeah.
you? And take some time to notice how it feels to receive that. That's affecting us whether you know it or not.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, you get to a point to where your baseline has become different now, right? And your
Mhm.
your tolerance is more. And I think it builds up that hard edge a little bit that we're talking about, right?
Ooh, that
You-
part.
Yeah, I think you lose a little bit of access to the softness, and we need both. We need a hard enough edge to be a safe boundary, but
Mhm.
not so hard that it's a callous for us. You know what I
Ooh.
mean?
Yeah, yeah. That is so true. It's interesting, as I was sharing this privately with some people. I think it was last week. Angie Martinez has a podcast, and she had Eve on, who is an expat, and she's living
Mhm.
her best life in the UK with her husband. And it was interesting because it was like pulling back the layers about her life, earlier career in rap, and then this transition to the soft life. And one of the things that I found so impactful and so revealing was the fact that she had this upbringing in Philly. She was raised by a single mom, and
Mhm.
when she met her husband, he came with this kind of masculine softness, but in a way in which he was fully emotional, fully present, which was the opposite of the people she encountered in the rap game, right? It's like this macho, faux, like hard, emotionally distant. And this guy is like wooing her in a way that she had never been seen before. But then it's butting up against her hard edge of, I've got this protective layer. I'm from the streets. Like, what you coming at me with that, bruh? And so as I
Yeah,
watched it,
yeah.
I like related on so many levels as somebody who grew up in the Bronx and,
Mhm.
had my own, arrows and things to work through as part of life. But eventually, what I took away from it is you can have a a piece of armor. You can have something that is adaptive that protects you in one phase of your life, but then at some point becomes maladaptive
Mhm.
and can prevent you from moving to the next level.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think in the field that I'm in as a mental health clinician and the field of psychology, there is this pushback against pathologizing people,
Mm.
and with our diagnoses and our saying something's wrong with you and those kinds of things. But I really come from it from the point of view that you just expressed, right? I like to explain to people the things that you're doing now have worked for you up until a point,
Mm-hmm.
and to acknowledge that and validate that everything that you're doing is working somehow. to
Mhm.
keep you safe, right? Has been adaptive, but now it's time for something different. It's now
Mhm.
maladaptive,
Yeah.
right? And so I understand why people have their armor up in this country. I'm still in the US, right? Why they might still have their armor up when they move abroad.
Mm.
Because you don't just shed that in a day,
No.
you know?
Yeah.
So I understand
Mm.
you needed that protection in that environment. And
Mhm.
maybe it served you really well. Maybe you were able to climb all the ladders and break all the glass ceilings.
Mm.
Good for you. It's time for something new now,
Mm.
right? Let's help guide you into the softness and understand that you can still be safe, right? You
Yeah.
can be soft and safe. And I imagine when Eve met the man that you were talking about, I imagine she when she saw his softness, she questioned whether she would be safe with him,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It was very interesting. And, they've been married, I guess she said 15 years. I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah.
But, it was, like I said, very revealing as someone who I could relate to on a lot of different levels,
Mhm.
that struggle. And she's like, even now, like 15 years in, there are still points, like, as a human being, you're a work in progress where you'll be triggered and that protectiveness shows
Mhm.
up. But I think the difference is the awareness that it's there. I guess
Mhm.
it was like Eckhart Tolle, the awareness. And so it's like being aware that it's there. Then it's like, okay, now that I know that this
Right.
is a trigger or I'm in a state, how do I consciously work through it? Is it, journaling? Is it saying to whomever's around me, I need, a beat, to myself, whatever it is, going for a walk, all those things. But we'll get, I guess, more into the skills in a bit. But it seems like I'm just looking at the chat. It seems like this resonated with a lot of people. Um, so I wanted to get to and segue a little bit to um, some of the, what we came to do, the journaling. Um, and so, how should we think about journaling, and maybe what's the importance of journaling for your brain?
Mhm. And this is important to touch on too, because there will be numerous people who have some resistance to the idea of journaling.
Mm.
Now, journaling and your brain, there's two pieces. So if it's handwritten, that does something in particular for your brain. But
Mm.
even if you don't handwrite, right, and you just journal, I saw someone says they keep it on their phone, right? Even if you're journaling on your phone or, computer or whatever, there are still benefits. They're just a little different than if you're handwriting. Because when you're handwriting, you're actually processing from left to right or right to left
Mm.
or up and down, depending on what language you're writing in, right? But
Mm.
that's actually helping your brain cross its midline and process whatever's going on, whether it's what's on the page or it's what's subconscious. It helps you process for that. Now,
Mm.
if you're doing it digitally, then the processing is a little different, but it's still helpful and important, right? Taking the time to sift through your thoughts. I mean, think about how fast life is.
Mm.
Think about if I didn't journal, I don't even remember what I did yesterday or what I ate yesterday. I mean, think about how fast life goes.
Yeah.
Slowing down enough to reflect and journal, just either brain dump, stream of consciousness, see what's in there. Sometimes I don't know what I think until I start writing. And then I'm
Mhm.
like, "Ooh, I didn't realize all that was in there." It just really
Mm.
unlocks a treasure trove of the inner experience that,
Mhm.
I mean, it's important to access the inner experience, but it unlocks a treasure trove of thoughts, beliefs, emotions, experiences that if you don't journal, your access to is not, it's not as deep. It's more surface level. Journaling helps you go deeper.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a wonderful tool, and for Black women especially, because especially in America, we don't always have the environment to show up as our full self in our
Mhm.
softness because everything about us is perceived as a threat. And so there's a reluctance to let the armor down, to, you know, let your squishy middle, be seen. And, everything about us is picked apart. And so I feel like journaling allows you to have that sacred space to release,
Mhm.
not only maybe feelings about that, but just those thoughts that are, the squishy middle that, no one else maybe gets to see, but exists. And that's where your dreams are, your aspirations, maybe it's, personal goals,
Mhm.
other desires. And so it doesn't have to live. And, for anybody who's watching, it's like, it doesn't have to stay in your head.
Right.
As Tori said, like the writing, the physical task of writing is helping your brain to process a lot of complex things. Like I said, we have a lot of stimuli in our
Mhm.
modern world that did not exist 20, 30, 40 years ago, right? Or earlier, before human beings or started roaming the earth. And so we're asking a lot of our brains to make sense of
Mhm.
in a world that in a lot of ways does not make sense. And then you still have this, you still have to, earn a living. You still, have a roof over your head. You may have desires to move abroad. So all of these things, can coexist. And it doesn't have to be black or white thinking. So
Mhm.
in order to like set the stage, and I was showing Tori before we got on. So I have my journal. There we see. I told y'all this will be a joint activity. Right? I was like, I'm having a breakthrough with y'all. So we're gonna journal for a bit. And then I know Tori has some affirmations. So this whole session is going to be more or less like almost like a two-parter, where we're going to have some journal prompts, and then we're going to talk about those things for those of you that want to share. And then also we're going to talk about, affirmations and into the feeling, and so some somatic work. So love that you guys are on for the ride with us. Yay.
Yeah.
All right. I will put the first one up. So, where in my life am I still moving from a place of protection or defense rather than trust and openness? So, we're going to give you a few minutes to respond to this prompt. If you have a pen and paper out, if not, you have a few minutes to go grab that and write something. Okay. All right. Uh, hey, Big Up Yourself said journaling this morning for me was powerful. I got to capture such a tremendous download. It was amazing. Bridget said the physical element of handwriting helps me remember versus using digital platform. It allows me to slow down. That's beautiful. Travel out. Ah, thank you. So glad you're here. Thank you for sharing. So, like I said, if anybody wants to share their prompt, their response to the prompt, you can put that in the chat. If not, it's for yourself. This is all about your self discovery. Um, so, with that, um, Tori, do you want this one to be the last one that you gave me, or should this be the next one?
Wherever you see that it fits. I like the progression of yours, so I don't want to.
Okay, yeah, I'll save it. Okay, perfect. I don't want to lose sight of it, so I wanted to ask you. All right, and the next one. If my life felt deeply soft, supported, and safe, what would my mornings look like? My relationships, my self talk. Okay, and third, number three, what is one small, doable change I can make this week to invite more softness into my day to day life? Okay. And then number 4, what parts of myself do I want to bring forward more in this next chapter? Give you another minute or so to finish up. All right. So, um, I'm just looking at the chat. So, Big Up Yourself said the softness would look like pause in the afternoon for a cup of herbal tea. Ooh, love that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Yeah.
the act of making the tea
Mm.
could be a whole meditation, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And you can create these sacred rituals for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the things that I've been doing to get back into the space, and for me, it's more embracing or revealing, or maybe tapping into is a better word, my feminine side. So it's lighting the candles, taking the baths with the salts, and
Mm-hmm.
having the creamy body oils and things like that, and just doing those things. And like today, it was like I realized like, oh, I didn't light my candle in like 2 days, and then it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I've got to do that. And then just the smell of the candles and stuff like that. But I've been here almost 2 years, and there was a time where I loved going to the store and buy my candles, sometimes my big candles. And so it's allowing you, Bailey, will you sit still? Allowing yourself to make time for those things, or even ask yourself, like, what is it that would make me feel, um, good or better? Sometimes we don't even know what that is. We don't have a language for it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Desiree said, I would wake up and do yoga outside. Oh, that's so beautiful. Gaze at my garden, take care of myself intentionally instead of rushing. Ooh,
Yes.
beautiful, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is beautiful.
Just the visual of that
Mm-hmm.
is like has me smiling, you know.
Yeah. It's like, it's so, so beautiful. For me, one of the things, and I just journaled about, was um, walking along the beach, wind in my hair, sand in my toes, being serenaded by the ocean,
Oh, beautiful.
sounds of the ocean. And so I think from a sensory thing, which I think everybody that has shared kind of honed in on, like the active making the tea, sipping the tea is very
Mhm.
much a tactile experience, right? Feeling the warmth of the water in your throat.
Yeah.
Yoga, getting into a position, stretching the body, allowing it to be expansive
Mhm.
rather than contracting, which so many times we keep so much tension in our bodies.
Mhm.
Um, and so that can restrict our breathing. And so just allowing yourself to be still and expand.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love it. I love all the sharing that's happening.
Yes. And I would say, I don't know if how far away that is for Desiree to be able to start to incorporate those things. But I would
Mm,
say if it feels too big, then don't be afraid to just go one more step towards it.
mm,
Maybe it's not a full yoga session. Maybe it's one pose in the
mhm,
morning. Maybe it's 5 minutes gazing at the garden. 5 minutes. Can
mm,
we give ourselves a 5 minute pause?
mhm.
You know, I mean, I would challenge someone if they said they couldn't.
Yeah.
And I would challenge them that there's something deeper going on if they can't
Mhm,
give themselves a 5 minute pause.
mhm. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, because I think one of the things that at least we were led to believe with, you know, computers and smartphones and all of these, AI, all of these things that you gain efficiency, you'll have more time in your day, right? Microwaves when I was a kid, right? Like you won't be in the kitchen now, you can just zap it. And no matter how much we try to make our
Mhm.
lives more efficient as human beings, the thing that tends to be the constant from human beings is there's not enough time.
I know. I know. We don't have to hand wash clothes anymore.
Yeah, yeah, right? Exactly. Like when I look at what, like when my mom, they had the, and then the iron you put on the stove, then
Yeah.
like we, what? But yet we still don't have enough time. That they figured out a way to fill even those other things. And so what I want to, reinforce to all of us is that we have agency,
Hmm.
have the ability to reclaim our time,
Hmm.
to reclaim our voice, to reclaim our bodies, our relationships with ourselves first and
Yeah.
foremost, because again, wherever you go, there you are.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the liberation movement
Hmm.
of of this century. You know what I'm saying? It
Yeah.
looks different than when our ancestors, our enslaved ancestors, were trying to get their freedom.
Hmm.
But it's still think of it as a liberation movement for yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So Yoga Bliss Dan said efficiency can be a trap because we're not machines.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's yep. It is. Bridget said, expanding physically through yoga feels especially important for us as Black women because of the restrictions we have in the US. Ooh,
Mm.
yeah.
Mhm.
Maureen said, taking even a few minutes to journal some words of gratitude or self affirmation when I wake up. That is beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. Nick's Tricks 84, never enough time for self, trying to keep our gaze off our inner selves because self-awareness is freedom. Yes. So you have to understand like the game is of distraction, right? These
Mhm.
are, these devices, all of these, points of stimuli are weapons of mass distraction. And
Yeah.
so how do you reclaim your sacred spaces, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, and if you even think about just so we're talking about consuming a lot of input and stimuli, but
Mhm.
just think of all the other consumption we do of the types of food that we eat or consumption of material goods and those types of things. often we're using those to fill something inside,
Mm,
right? Because if we were just buying things because, well, I have no shoes, now I need one pair of shoes, like, right? But massive quantities of things can be a symptom that you are trying to fill something that is not meant to be filled in that way. So if you're
mm,
filling all of your time with content, with media, with
mm.
certifications, classes, and courses. I'll call those
Ooh.
out too, because I see that in the women I work with. Let me get
Mm,
one more certification.
mhm.
Okay, we're trying to fill something else that can't be filled up this way.
Yeah, yeah.
So taking the time to journal, like we're talking about, can be such a great way to access that, what's really going on.
Mhm,
How do I feel when I think I need to sign up for this thing? What feelings does that bring up for me?
mhm,
Right? And then learning to understand what your feelings mean, right? They're clues that you need something. If we don't
mhm,
take the time to look at our feelings, then we're going to miss our needs. We're going to miss those cues and clues to what we deeply need,
mhm,
right? Weapons of mass distraction. That's you're totally right on that.
mhm. Yeah, it's an interesting time, and when you slow down, you are able to see these things for what they are. But when you're in it and you're in the moment, and
Mm-hmm.
we talked about it a little bit last week on the channel, is that the U.S. is designed in a way to keep you in survival mode. And so when you're rooted in survival, you know, these weapons of mass distraction in your mind then become the lifeline. If I don't have that news alert, or if I don't have that, device in my car, or if I don't have those clues that, to soothe, or that food, or that certification, it's always looking outside for an answer when all the answers are inside. All the answers are
Mm-hmm.
within.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was it the Wizard of Oz? And they're like, Dorothy, you already, like,
Yeah.
you already
So,
have it, right? So the
yeah.
answer is always within.
Yeah.
Even the work that I'm doing actively on myself, it's like the answer was within.
Mm-hmm.
When you keep that part of you, so guarded and protected, you think that the answer is outside. If I just,
Mm-hmm.
keep this wall up, if I keep this shell,
Sure.
if I, layer on another another brick
Yeah.
wall, right?
Sure.
It'll be protective. But what is underneath that? And so just allowing yourself um, to feel, right, connect with your emotions. That's another thing that I realized too, is sometimes we don't have a language for our emotions
Right.
because either it hasn't been safe for us to show our full breadth.
Mhm.
Oftentimes, especially as Black women, our face, things get misinterpreted. I remember being in meetings and people were like, "What are you pissed about?" And I'm like, "Well, actually, I was having a good day and a good thought till you said that my resting bitch face was a little too bitchy for you, but this my face." Right? And so we become so defensive because you always need to feel like you're ready for the next attack. And so
Mhm.
what I want to, challenge or more or less invite those watching to do is that, nobody is saying that. I mean, wherever you are in the world,
Yeah.
it is what it is, right? There's perceived threats, there's real threats, not discounting that.
Mhm.
But journaling will allow you to let your softer side start to emerge. And think of this as preparation, your invitation to
Mhm.
cultivate the life that you want abroad.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So should we segue a bit into the affirmations, into more of the somatic, and maybe talk about that a bit?
Sure. Well, and I really envision this as an experience. We can get into like the nerdy part of it too, if you would like.
Of
But
course.
I would love to invite people, if it's okay if I just, invite people to go ahead and start sitting with what I'm about to say. Okay. I
Mhm.
have some beautiful affirmations from our fabulous Trisha Hersey that we love here in this community so much. And if you don't already have a set of affirmations or you don't have these, I highly recommend them, especially if you struggle to give yourself even 5 minutes to
Mhm.
breathe, to pause, to rest, to journal. Okay. And I'm going to read the affirmations, but when I do, I would like everyone to take a minute to just notice what happens in your body when I read these words. Okay. You may be aware of thoughts that come up. There may be images that come up. There may be even emotions that come up. Notice what's happening in your body and just give that a minute. And if you want to write that down or type in the chat what you notice, if you feel safe to do that, feel free. But I just want to encourage people to take a minute as I read this. Okay.
Mhm.
Tuning into your body. The first one says, silence is a form of rest. Let your body receive that and see how it responds to that message. Does it respond with heaviness or with lightness? Or maybe it's neutral. Silence is a form of rest. Now, here's another one. See what your nervous system says when I read this one. Staring out the window and gazing at the sky or a tree is rest. Your body and your brain might have some ideas about that. Notice that. Even as I read it, I felt some sensation in my back,
Mhm.
as if, I don't know if this is true. Maybe someone in the chat was one of those children who was reprimanded for daydreaming,
Mhm.
gazing out the window, not paying attention. So for that person, this is a gospel.
Mhm.
This is a good word for that person.
Mhm.
Okay, here's my last one. Notice if there's any part of your body that just kind of, I don't know, gets your attention as I read this. Rest is not a privilege. Rest is a human right. You do not have to earn rest. Breathe that in and breathe out what doesn't serve you anymore. And these affirmations are a helpful way for people who are new to this way of thinking to start to orient not just their mindset, but their bodies to these messages, right? You can get these affirmations and you can ask yourself, how much do I believe that this is true? Your body will tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Body will tell you. Like my back, I don't feel that activation in my back anymore. Like it went away. It moved on to something else.
Mm-hmm.
Your body will let you know if you believe this just 2% or 100%.
Hmm.
And that's a good question that people can ask. Like, or maybe on a scale of 0 to 10, you
Yeah.
could do that. On a scale of 0 to 10, how much do you believe that rest is not a privilege, but it's a right? I'd
Mm-hmm.
love to hear people in the chat. How much do you guys believe that rest is not a privilege, but it is a human right?
Mm-hmm. Maureen said, now that's a sermon right there. Yeah, yeah. And Boho Sound said, that's why I never understood the concept of PTO in the US, paid time off. Everywhere else, it's called vacation or holiday.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah, especially in Europe. I mean, all of August, signs everywhere all over Portugal. It's like, no, we ain't here till September, okay? No, your clothes ain't getting dry cleaned. No, you may not get the bus today.
oh, really?
It's like even my Pilates studio, they're like the classes you thought you was gonna have, some of them may not take place. We are on holiday. It is
I love
August.
that. I love that.
You
And
know?
when you're running from the way things are here in the US, you're running to another country for safety. Those things may not feel safe at
Yeah.
first.
Hmm. And
Um,
how quickly we adapt. In
mhm,
Spain, I know they do siesta. In Portugal, it's sesta. And so they have periods of rest throughout the day. I
mhm.
took an hour and a half nap today, laid in my recliner, and I'm like, ooh, nap time.
Yeah, right.
you know?
Oh,
Um,
look. Jess says she can't stop yawning.
yeah.
And that could mean a couple of things, but right now it's seeming like her body's safety system has kicked in, and
Mm,
that might be why it's yawning.
mhm,
Excessive back to back to back yawning could be something else.
mhm,
But often the nervous system exercises that I teach people, one of the signs that we're looking for is the yawning,
mm.
sighing, or swallowing. Those are all signs that your body's safety system is coming online.
Ooh, ooh.
So, yay for you, Jess.
Yeah. Nietzsche said, believing it and living it,
Mhm.
the widest gap ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the nervous system work is what bridges that gap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to perform to earn rest,
Mhm.
right? We've been conditioned to believe that we need to earn the right to take a break. I
Mhm.
didn't do anything to get that break. I went and picked up some things at the pharmacy, picked up my dry clean, and I was like, ooh, that was enough for me today. Time for me to take a nap.
Right? Right.
I
It's a
didn't even, at that point, I didn't even do any work. I was like, I'm tired.
Look, I'm in Houston and the heat is oppressive. So yeah, I have
Mm.
to go out in the heat. I'm done. Later.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, we came into this world with, our skills and abilities. And of course, we've acquired some things along the way, but who we are is enough.
Mhm. Sure.
Yes, Dawn said, reclaim that rest at night. Big Up Yourself said, I actually covered this rest as a birthright in a video on my channel titled The Struggle Is Not Real. Ooh, gotta tune into that. Thank you for sharing
Mhm.
that.
It's a very good one. That's our sister Winsome. She's got
Oh,
some sermons for us.
yes. Oh, I gotta check it out. Thank you for that. Yoga Bliss Dan said, my family labeled rest as laziness. I was deemed lazy because I do things like crosswords as a preteen. So, what
Oh.
would you say to someone like that who has, early trauma and when it's familial that is usually part of a core wound.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, first, thank you for sharing that with us.
Hmm.
And I think saying it out loud or sharing it in a safe community is a huge step towards the healing. Um, Rewriting that script, that
Hmm.
we're not lazy. That's one I'm actively trying to rewrite. I was never the work and do all the things person. And so I internalized that as, oh, I must just be lazy. So let's do our healing work and rewrite that and be in communities of people that support this new thing, but also realizing that the people who put that on you were deeply wounded too. They were carrying trauma. That was their trauma response.
Hmm.
Maybe send them a rest deck. I don't know. I don't know if you want to do that, but
Yeah,
but
yeah.
realizing that that was adaptive at a time, to go back to what we were speaking of earlier,
Hmm.
right? Think about our history. We were the workhorses.
Hmm.
The whole purpose of us being in the United States
Hmm.
was to work.
Hmm.
So that message was internalized by generations and generations and generations. It's not going to be released just in one generation.
Hmm.
It's going to take multiple generations of people on this journey like us
Yeah,
to
yeah.
heal the future generations from that trauma.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that right there is very powerful, is knowing that you have an opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to change the trajectory for future generations, not just from your physical move, if that's what you aspire to,
Mm-hmm.
a life abroad, but also doing the internal work so that, in whatever stage, because sometimes people, hold on to this, well, I'm 50 something, I am who I am, and da 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 da. And it's like we're constantly growing as human
Mm-hmm.
beings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so as long as you're breathing, there's still work that you can do. There's still an opportunity for you to get to know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it goes back to one of your earlier comments about, you know, not trying to diagnose everything or label, but is to recognize that maybe those early caregivers, didn't have the tools,
Mm-hmm.
that they needed to be equipped to help them not act out of survival, right? They were doing the best that they could with what they had at that time, and those were the methods that they chose. But not to attach blame, but just recognize that their reality doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be part of your reality, that you get to choose to lay that down and decide what you're going to carry forward.
Right. Right. Which is why journaling is such a helpful tool. You know,
Hmm.
'Cause you give that example of that person who thinks they have nothing to change. Well, I guarantee you that person doesn't journal.
Hmm. Hmm.
That sounds like a person who is leading the unexamined life.
Yes.
Mm, I mean,
Yeah.
that's their path.
Absolutely.
Maybe for some people, it's too hard to examine their inner world, too painful.
Hmm.
Whatever,
Hmm.
you know.
Hmm. And that's where I think, coming and working with, people like yourself is so important. And I think maybe that's a nice segue into your program.
Oh, yes. So I created the soft landing circle exclusively and specifically and with feedback from Black women moving abroad. Um, I had been seeing a few messages in the Facebook groups and people wondering about what to do about their mental health when they moved abroad. And so I reached out to one of those ladies, and eventually more and more and more started talking to me and telling me about the challenges they had maintaining their mental health while they moved abroad, with just all of the different rules and regulations and finding someone and all that kind of thing. anyway, I created this 12-week program for Black women moving abroad that really gives them a space in a community to talk about all of those feelings, the grief, the guilt, the 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 different feelings of like, well, did I make the right choice doing this because I don't feel the way I thought I would feel, right? To give them a space to talk to each other about that. And then I come in and I provide the nervous system work that they need in order to make the landing a little bit softer, right? So
Oh,
it's a soft landing circle. It's a circle, because we're a community of women, and it is designed to make that landing a little bit softer. You might find yourself having moved abroad and doing all the things, right? Taking advantage of every new thing that you're finding, um, and still doing some of that escapism behavior, right? Not taking the time to step back and really see how you're processing this move. I've heard from some women about that. Then I've heard from other women who haven't yet moved who couldn't make themselves do the packing and the all the arrangements and things. That's a nervous system issue as well. We
hmm.
talked earlier about knowing what to do but not being able to do it. Well, there's some dysregulation going on, and so I'm not here to be your accountability buddy and make sure you do your 5 tasks every day to get your suitcases packed. But what I am here to do is to help you regulate your nervous system so that you can understand what's going on when you're refusing to pack or when you're refusing to lay down somewhere once you get to your destination. So we're
Hmm.
going to have 12 weeks together where we get to do that. And I'm really looking forward to it. We start in September and sign up ends this Saturday. So,
Wow.
so if anyone feels like well, look, and this work is something that will serve you for a lifetime. So whether are still thinking about moving abroad or you've already landed, this is work that will serve you and
Mhm.
that you can build off of, right? My hope is that everyone ends the 12 weeks with a solid practice that fits into their lifestyle, And so I'm really excited, and I appreciate the opportunity to get to tell more people about it because I really believe in it. Like I
Mhm.
said, I built this with Black women. They told me what they wanted and what they needed, and I did some magic and whipped it up for them.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. And just this exercise that we went through together is transformative. And so this is any indication of what the next 12 weeks will be once the program starts in September. I think you all are in for, a real transformative experience, to Tori's point, where, these are skills that you can carry with you for a lifetime.
Hmm.
One of the reasons why people struggle is, you know, especially because, in America, rugged individualism, right? You only have to look out for yourself. And so being in a collective, being in a cohort, allows you to rebuild, some of our ancestral ties
Yeah.
around, communalism and collaboration, and realizing like you don't have to go at this alone.
Hmm.
And that's going to reclaim that sense of agency and empowerment, and allow you to have these tools in your toolkit that you can carry with you.
Yes, absolutely. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. And I'm holding a safe container, right? I've
Mm,
led groups before, and I have an understanding about how to create the safety, how if a member hurts another member's feelings, how we repair that, because that's part of being in community. And so I'm really taking a lot of care in how I facilitate this
mhm,
so that it can be as healing as possible and transformative.
mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow. Are there any other thoughts that you want to share with our audience, or likewise, are you guys in the chat? Is there anything else that you want to share with myself or Tori while we are still together? This has been so amazing for me. Like I said, I whipped out the journal, I whipped out the good pen, I
Yes,
took the notes, right?
yes,
And this was huge for me, just be able to put my thoughts down, and then also, to share a bit,
absolutely.
in real time.
Yeah,
And so I am so appreciative
yeah.
of you reaching out. Also appreciative because you've been in the comments and you've been a follower for some time. But also want to commend you for, seeing, that there was a need,
Mm,
creating a solution, this offering that will allow these Black women to, unpack,
hmm
a lot of the baggage that we've been carrying around, right? And that we can lay those pieces of luggage down and start to build and create the life that we want. One of my favorite Krishanisms is live life by design, not by default. And
Yes.
so this is your opportunity to live your life by design,
Mhm.
right? So,
Absolutely. Beautiful, beautiful. And I would love if anyone in the chat would like to share maybe their next one step, right? Towards
mm,
living their life by design, towards um, really embodying the new belief that rest is not a privilege, it's a human right. If anyone would like to share their one baby step,
oh, yeah, please.
I think we'd love to hear that, and that'd be a great way to kind of wrap up.
Yeah, yeah, yes. And
Aw,
I
sweetness.
guess let me go back to, let's see, it was this one. Is that right?
Well, and that was yours. I think that's a really good one to end on.
Hmm.
Hmm
So, like, what is, sit on the porch somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sit down somewhere.
that's
Yes.
right.
Sit
Down.
on the porch.
Yes. Maureen said this was amazing. So grateful to just close my eyes and rest and process and be thoughtful. Ah, thank you.
Thank you for saying that, Maureen,
Thank you.
so much. Appreciate that feedback so much.
Yes, Dawn, just wanted to say how awesome you sisters are. I'm so glad I came across Black Tip this year. Oh, thank you, Dawn. No matter where we are geographically at the moment, there's a community here and it's a blessing. Oh, thank you for
So
that.
true. So
That's
true.
the energy we want to cultivate here. Greta says, sleep whenever I can. Yes.
Go for it, Greta.
Yes. Beat back that perimenopause. Yes, yes. Bridget said, baby step morning meditation. Ooh, love
Oh,
that.
may I say one thing on that? I do have a YouTube channel where I have meditations. So if
Mm,
anyone is new to meditation or needs like a guided experience, because I know for me, my mind always wanders, and sometimes that's fine, but sometimes I want it to be more focused. And so I have some guided meditations that also have journaling prompts on my channel. So,
yes. And I'm going to put that up I dropped the link in the comments,
oh, yeah.
Tori's
Thank you.
YouTube channel, and I'll add that to the description for this video. And Maureen said, use my out of office status at work more often. Yeah, child. Facts on
Love
facts
that.
on
Yes, do
facts.
not disturb.
Hmm. Big Up said this felt like a therapy session. Thank you. Ah,
Oh, thank you, Winsome. My
yeah.
heart.
Matrix said, love the increased awareness about mental health being holistic health for Black women. Oh, you're welcome. Yes, yes. Very good. Thank you all for the shares and for being, transparent and supporting one another. I've seen some comments of,
Yeah.
where you all have supported each other in the chat. So I want to thank you for that. Jess said, going back to my yoga classes. Yes. I restarted Pilates. So
Ooh, I would love to start Pilates.
Oh man, I'd been away from it for over a year, and
Mm.
I got found a studio that I like, and I also was battling back from an injury. And then this one is dynamic Pilates, which I didn't realize when I signed up,
Ooh,
but it's gentle on my
scary.
knees. It is dynamic. Way gentler on my knees, and I am loving it. I'm going twice a week now, and it's like my sacred time.
Love that. Love that. Yes, giving your body what it needs to age as well as possible
Mm.
is important.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
good for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look, it's a grip. But I tell myself I'm worth
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I'll do my Pilates app. It's free. I'll do that
Yeah,
for you.
yeah, exactly. It's still accessible, right? It still can be accessible. Sometimes you just have to be creative. Greta said want to take swim lessons. I'm looking for it as well. Some adult classes here because that's another thing that I want to kind of tackle.
Such a good idea. It's so
Hmm.
restorative to move in the water. Mm.
Yes, yes. Oh man. Bridget said the session was so timely. I just started back journaling this week. Y'all read my mind. Aw.
Yes, we did. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Travel is my passion. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate that. Like I said, when you guys leave reviews of the podcast and leave notes on the videos, I read everything myself. So always be kind. Um, but yeah, I appreciate that. I love it. I love it. I love doing this every week. I love doing the podcast every season. You guys give me fuel. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Pamela said, I need to run this back, miss the journaling portion, but I will lean into my hula hooping. Woo, yes.
Yes.
What? Oh man, I love it. Maureen said she wants to restart adult swim classes too. Yes, look, black
Yes.
swim, black women swim.
That's right. That's right. I was an adult when I finally learned to swim. There's no shame.
Yeah, yeah. I took
Mhm.
classes before I turned 40. I'm 51 now. I've not really been in a swimming environment. Like I've been in the water, but I've not attempted. And so I was like, no, you know what? I am retired. I'm abroad. Like, what's stopping me? And so I'm like, I got to work on my Portuguese to figure out where the adult swim class is held. But
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to figure. There's a pool in my neighborhood. I just need to walk in there and just do it. So maybe that's my small step.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, walk in there and get in, or at least walk to it. Like whatever
Yeah,
your baby
find
step has
out
to
if
be.
it's there or if it's another place. Because I've been seeing signs like I can read enough to that there is one. I just
Hmm.
am not sure if it's that location, which is like a couple blocks away from my apartment. So I'm like, I'm gonna walk over there and I'm gonna ask.
Do it. Do it.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
yeah. Let's see. Deborah said, I believe there are because they have, well, where I live, we have tennis and I've seen pickleball and other ones. So I would imagine racquetball as well. If not, either of these, courts that are available, each neighborhood has one or more courts. And then they have these clubs, where you can
Mhm.
go as well. All right. Well, I think we did it. Again, Tori, thank you for this awesome session. I want to, reiterate to all of y'all, get a chance, get in there before Saturday, okay, for the soft landing circle. I can tell this has been very impactful to you, and so keep in that vibrational energy. And I always say inspiration is great, but inspired action is even better. And so take inspired action. The link is there. Like I said, I'll add it to the description. You have until Saturday. Link up with Tori, subscribe to her channel, show her some love.
Yeah.
And again, I just want to thank you, Tori. This has been fantastic.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.
Thank you. All right, y'all. I will see you next Thursday, new time. So look forward to you all tuning in. And till then, be safe and be well. Ciao, ciao. Boa noite.